like this, like our mountains always green, but he uses exactly the same vegetation we have on our mountains. A lot of thyme, a lot of rosemary, a lot of lavender, a lot of all of these aromatic herbs that we have that grow naturally. The olive trees, the fig trees.
How much rain do y'all get here a year?
Not a lot.
Okay, that's what I was.
I can't give you exactly the amount of liters per year, but we have vegetation that is sturdy and adapted to droughts.
That's what I was wondering. That's what it looks like. This looks like Arizona.
Arid landscaping. Yeah, honey, I do.
Yeah, we get 4 inches a year.
We get that in a day. No, not very often.
Sometimes, lately we do.
White.
Oh yeah.
And smells great.
What part of Arizona?
Northwest.
Yeah.
Watch out. Come to the side. It's there. I took my car. And this is the cave-like atmosphere he is recreating. This is why he's giving these families a cool area to walk in the summertime. If you come to the interior, you'll get a better view of the cave design. It's actually clearer where it's dark. And so he always adds little details like, did you notice that the other walkway had rocks protruding from the columns? Okay, these don't. But on the other hand, we have stalactites. So there's always a detail or another to help create the idea of a natural environment.
When was this actually constructed?
Between 1900 and 1906. And it took many more years to clad everything. But the structures were done by 1906. And none of these has ever fallen because, folks, these, not these, but those are anchored in place with rods that are stuck to the rock and to the structure. And that's why they won't fall.
Okay, so there is just rods.
Stuck, drilled and holed into the stone, into the rock, and then into the structure. These, on the other hand, are just held by cement. So off and on, I've seen Beaux-Arts students with a little hammer, and depending on the sound, they know it's loose. If it gives a hollow sound,
You don't have earthquakes.
no, we don't have earthquake. That helps. I recognize that. That helps. But something most people don't even realize, when you're in an area like this where you know there's a slope, and you want people to have properties on top, in the middle, and at the bottom, you have to avoid erosion. You can't let the mud from the top get to the houses at the bottom. So think of it. This is him terracing the slope, cutting the erosion. So it's got double use. There's the engineering behind it, and then there is the comfort. That's Gaudi. There's always 2 or 3 different uses. Let's come down this way, please. We have more to see. Let's come this way. Watch out.
So?
You are so
I'm not saying any of this is gaudy, but when you say that, it's almost like I want to say, I'm looking for a gaudy house.
No. Part of Sagrada Familia, if you don't understand it, could be considered gaudy.
Okay.
No, Gaudi is a French last name, but in the 18th century moves from the south of France into Catalonia. Gaudin, Gaudin. All right, Gaudin becomes Gaudi because that's what the Spaniard would say. Gaudian. Okay, so this is today a museum. It's called Gaudi House Museum. Is there anything left from Gaudi's time? Yes, one cot and one writing table. Nothing else. Because this house was sold to an Italian family that lived in it for 2 generations. And that's the money that Gaudi put in the church. That's all he wanted, to finish the church, finish one facade of the church. So yeah, he put it up for sale. These are beads for the rosary that you could walk. They're totally out of order now. We have had a civil war. Don't forget that. But there's big beads and small beads. And at the same time, I wanted to talk about these palm trees. None of them is local. They're all imported, but remember who built Barcelona in the 19th century? All of those families that had gone to the colonies, got used to living surrounded by palm trees, and then came back. So they brought back the first palm trees. Many Barcelona.
Are they all date palms?
No, they're not. There's a 6 varieties.
Okay.
6
like I see a lot of them.
Oh, you see a lot of dates. Yeah. Right.
We were at the other cathedral yesterday, and they were doing maintenance. Guys up there cutting stuff off. And the parents up there getting back to the cut, and also
see, that's another subject to talk about, the amount of parrots Barcelona had. We were never supposed to have wild parrots. We imported them to be pets. But they escaped the cages, they escaped their stores, they started reproducing, and now Barcelona has a huge community of Argentinian monk parrots.
Yeah, we got
And they thrive on the palm trees and the dates.
here. Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Ci asciughiamo e basta per andare.
We started work here in 1900. We see 14 years of work. 1900 to 1914, because in 1914 Daddy Wade got sick and wasn't able to keep running his affairs. So it all passed on to the hands of the 11 children. And the first thing they did was stop investing in all of these Daddy's projects. They did not share Daddy's view at all. So they never got to build the church. Okay then, let's get to the main square so you can sit on that ergonomic bench. Come on, Trevor. I mean, no, not Trevor, Mark. It's right here. Yeah, I know. This is Mark and Judy.
No, you got it right the first time.
Trevor and Jeannie.
This is what I like to do right here. So please, just sit down wherever you have a lot of color. The more color, the better. Wherever you like. I'll find you. I'll find you.
Vai lì, ecco via, mi raccomando.
Blue. Don't cover up too much. See those columns in front, those are that's constant. That's different design. These would never reach 150 feet. Those do.
Smile for Paul.
That's where he finds the solution to his. He calls it the double twirl column. He invents the double twirl column. This is the typical Solomonic Baroque column moving towards the right-hand side. Well, he envisions, without a computer, what if I superimpose another helicoidal movement going in the opposite direction? Every time they intersect, that's your point of maximum mass. That's your point of load. So he can control that from the bottom to the top of the trunk. And that's how he can then break the trunk into branches and never lose the line of load. So it's quite ingenious while at the same time rather simple. These are not very complicated mathematical formulas. This way, please. So there's a lot of visionary in Gary. The visionary. Sometimes when I hear that sound, and I know it's a parrot, sometimes I think it's a monkey.
Yeah.
Gives me that feeling of a jungle.
So you're doing any excursions on your trip?
We are. Couldn't tell you. We're doing a mountain drive.
We're doing all of the shit. Oh, okay. We're doing with Viper, oh, this Saturday. Yeah, I forgot what tomorrow was.
Of all the palms in Barcelona, the only local one is that. The palmetto, the midget palmetto. That is very typical Catalan in Spanish. Not this one is. That's why Gaudi designed this as a hump to repel poetry. He's quite the rebel, isn't he? He's
Yeah.
surrounded by all. Follow me to the middle, all right? just going to be the daily market. It was only supposed to work during the daytime, but then with 3 families, how can you bring stands? So Mr. Grady insisted on having electricity and artificial lights. So Gaudi, with the 90 columns, has to cut off floor and bring chandeliers. That's what would have been hanging from these rings in the middle, 4 chandeliers. Now, on top of the chandeliers, there's 4 suns, and we are quite certain that these are the 4 seasons of the year. That's a white sun with everything around it. That's cold, winter. That's all red, brown, and green. That's summer. And these are fall and spring. White with yellow, yellow with white. And surrounding each of these suns, we have these rounded elements that he does and clad with all sorts of, look, glass, bottle, necks, saucers, cups, water bottles. He can use it all. Now he, as a good artist that he is, isn't prejudiced. That's the whole idea of it, to have a champagne bottle hanging there. That's what it's all about. That's the fun part. Okay, now, why don't we take one picture with the whole group? Would you all agree to that? 11 is a nice size group. Okay. My phone isn't so good. It's a mini 12. Does anybody have any other iPhone that's better than my 12? 16 sounds very good. And it's an iPhone.
You know.
Oh, distance.
Io lo prendo passato una dal coche, Ahora pasó con Marina, ¿no?
No, si yo no estoy apoyando a Marina.
Ya, él ya está por todo. Yo no.
Todo se ve Barcelona.
Nem fog tetszeni, amit mondok.
Fewer lines.
La un moment dat văzui că aveau transport.
How'd you do the picture? Did you get it? Janet? Did
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, got it.
So you also have our phone number now. So if you come through Arkansas, we'll be there in 3 weeks. Or if you get ready to go on a cruise and want somebody to go with you.
And ATA is their headquarters
Yeah.
in Little Rock.
Now that's Travis.
Travis and Lisa.
Is it your phone or me?
Okay, they're holding up traffic for us. Let's go.
The first weekend in December. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right where I'm coming from. I'll be coming from.
And we'll be in Hong Kong, so I'll see those congested cities,
You will
all
be
the neon
You
lights.
will be over people to the max by that time. And Tokyo would drive you over the edge.
How many nights is this?
Can you send it to me again?
That's it? Sounds like a very intense one.
It's very
I think there's
interesting
only, I think there's only 3, maybe 4 sea days now. I don't think that's
I don't have that.
I look at it.
We definitely have one.
I did send you an email. It's right I don't see it. I have.
We had our drinks. We're right around.
Not been to
I've been to Hong Kong, Taipei, and Tokyo, but I haven't been to the other places. I haven't been to Singapore. Singapore is one of those that's been on my bucket list for a long time.
Yeah.
I'd like to go to Japan.
I was in Tokyo for a week on work. You can call it that. Well, it was from 7 to 7, 6 days. And the 7th day, I ended up taking a tour. And they picked us up at the hotel. They dropped us off at a rendezvous place on the train station. And it was before 6 days. Translate on your phone. I didn't have an international plan.
Well, folks, we're heading towards Sagrada Familia now, our last stop. We're going to be walking around all 4 sides. The first side we're going to see is the back. Did I interrupt you, Guy? Okay.
It wouldn't be the first time.
Okay.
And probably not the last.
Well, gosh, that's my job description. Okay, folks, so we'll get off there at the corner. We'll just walk down 1 block, 1 street, and we'll get to the back of the church. We'll see what's been done in these last years, because definitely while Gaudi was working, nothing but the 4 bell towers he was working on were being lifted. He only saw 1 of the bell towers finished in his lifetime. Today we have 8 of the bell towers, and we have the 6 main towers about to be finished. It's going to be a big day on the 10th of June of 2026 next year, when they inaugurate the Jesus Tower. It's going to be a big day when the 6 main towers are finished, and the Jesus Tower is going to be crowned by this beautiful cross with 4 arms that we will be able to walk onto. So it's going to be awesome. And then we'll start finishing the church. It's going to be finished in 10 years' time, all right? So by 2034 or 2035, the church itself should be finished. Not the bridge accessing the main door. That is a problem that is completely outside of the control of the architects. That has a lot to do with the owners of the apartments themselves, whether they decide to sue or take the Sagrada Familia to trial, or to just accept the money and accept whatever plot the City Hall has chosen for them to have a new apartment building in. We'll see. That is not yet in the picture. It's something that is very new. This is the first time that a City Hall of Barcelona has supported the Sagrada Familia in their endeavor to finally finish the church. It's the first time. So finally the neighbors have said okay, but not all of them. So some of the families are going to give trouble. So we'll see when that happens. Nobody knows. Not even the architects themselves have been able to figure it out yet. It's too early. We're only now. You know, that could actually be the solution, you know. People here, we were talking about Lady Gaga and everybody stopping to look at her. Well, imagine the Pope coming now to see the inauguration of the Jesus Tower. He came in 2010 to consecrate the church. Why not? He's been invited now to come for the inauguration of the main tower. And since Antonio Gaudi is being beatified, and who knows if even canonized and made saint, well, who knows? Maybe the Pope will want to come and see what this is all about. And that might encourage these families to accept being moved to another plot and having another apartment. We'll see. We'll see.
Friends from Chicago and sit down
You know what, Guy? The whole thing is that the Sagrada Familia has been offering a lot of money all these years, and the problem with these families wasn't the money. The problem was, what do I want your money for if I can't find an apartment in the Sagrada Familia neighborhood where I grew up? Remember how we said people are rooted to their neighborhoods? Yes. Yeah, that was the problem. And it hasn't been since this year, when the City Hall has guaranteed that they're going to find plots for apartment buildings for everybody within the Sagrada Familia neighborhood. That's the big news this year. That's why they're celebrating the beginning of the end. Yes, they're inaugurating the beginning of the end this year. So there's going to be a big party with all the architects and everybody that works there and everybody that's going to be invited. So yes, we are at the last chapter of construction of Sagrada Familia. We're not even talking about the bridge yet. Okay, so what happened here? We started work on the Sagrada Familia in 1882, folks, and it was registered from the beginning as an expiation temple. Now, expiation of sins. Does that ring a bell? Confession, prayer to expiate your sins. There's also the possibility of indulgences. If you go on a pilgrimage, or even if you went on a crusade, you would get indulgences. Well, that's the thing. That's how Sagrada Familia was registered, and it cannot be financed, even if Mr. Zuckerberg came here and decided to pay for it. Well, he's an individual. Well, he's an individual, and he could pay for it, but no institution can, no bank, no government, not even the church itself can pay for the church. It's got to be individual. So yes, if it were a rich billionaire, it would be very nice if he did donate something big. But anyway, that's always been a problem, and that's why it's taken this long to get to where we are now, which is another 10 years still. The first 100 years were extremely slow because there was nothing to show. They couldn't charge an entry fee, so there was no money coming in that was significant enough to make a difference. People would donate 25 cents maybe twice a year. They could finish half a tower per year. Imagine, it was really slow for 100 years. Finally, after they covered it, and that was around 1980, 1985, end of the 1980s, and then they start charging an entrance fee, and that when things start going a little faster. So there you are. Gaudi worked on the church, not from 1882 when it was started, but from 1883 when he was hired a year later. From 1883 up to 1926 when he was killed by that streetcar that ran over him and that killed him. So he saw the nativity facade, very advanced but not finished. It was finished 10 years later when his workers and associate architects finished what he had started. And even after the Civil War, around 1940, we continued with that facade. And unfortunately, I have to tell you that all of Gaudi's blueprints and scale models were lost because at the beginning of the Civil War, the anarchists really felt a very strong feeling of hate towards the church. They burnt down many churches, they killed many priests, monks, and nuns, and they came into the development again. They burnt up Gaudi's workshop, where we had collected everything he had done. So it took many years to find bits and pieces here and there, and somebody to do something with the scale model plaster shards that had been kept on a shelf, but nobody knew what to do with them until scanners came along. And as soon as scanners came along, and we were able to scan the shards. Okay, folks, David has asked me please to tell you to get ready to come off the van because we're getting off right here on the corner, and he can't do this legally. So he's going to be illegally parking to drop us off, and he doesn't want us to take too long, okay? Okay. Now, those of you staying, please remember to bring everything with you because you're not coming back, okay? Which is why he includes Gaudi. You'll see that. You start at the bottom, left, with the Last Supper. You see that? If you do come inside, these sculptures are beautifully expressive. It may seem like, oh, you know who this is, right? It's the same one we saw in Montserrat. Subirax, the concave design, right? That's him. He's very expressive. The Garden of Gethsemane behind this wall. I love it. The Trader's Kiss. See the corner? There's the Trader's Kiss in the corner. Also very expressive. Judas isn't happy at all. Tied to the column, being flogged in the middle. It also says Alpha and Omega. I am the beginning and the end. There's just the trading fleet the three women behind him, and even the rooster. So you have to get confused to help you figure out what you're thinking. Who's that man thinking? Come on. Who knows your testimony? Who's the man thinking? Who doesn't want to try Jesus? Herod. Herod. Who can I give the responsibility to? Who can I give the responsibility to? Who does he give to? Pontius Pilate. What does Pontius Pilate do? Wash his hands. So he's portrayed hiding his back to us as he washes his hands. One floor, he calls 3 times Cassie. And then in the middle, the Veronica, this woman that sees him on the floor, feels pity. According to the Catholic Church, takes off her shawl and cleans his face, which is full of mud. Then she looks at what's left, and she sees the face of Jesus formed by the mud. That's what she's showing you. Right. See the veil? I see it. See that there's 2 soldiers on the Veronica's left? I see an old man on a pedestal to the left of the soldiers. That's Gaudi. As he learned at the age of 17. And he's the only one on the pedestal, so you can pick him up like a chess piece, get him out, and nothing will change because he doesn't belong. It's kind of cool. Up one floor, we have Longinus, who's just pierced Jesus' skin to see if he's dead or alive. There he is, piercing the wall. Then, up on top, soldiers playing dice or casting lots. Then, crucifixion, which I have to tell you now, look at it. Look at the detail of it. First of all, it's weird to see the cross as perpendicular and stuck to the wall, which makes Jesus' arms obviously feel like they're holding the whole weight of the body, and they are elongated. You see that, how thin and long they are. You can see those muscles being long as the legs. As long as the legs. And then look at the columns down below. These columns down below represent the muscles being pulled. That's why they have that shape of hyperbolic parabola. Got it. That's what it means. Muscle. Then up on top, those columns are supposed to be white because they're bones. The rib cage. So right here, flesh and bones. Right? There's a moon, there's a skull, all of that representative, symbolic of, you see the ship of it happening. It's called because it was the mountain of death, and Jesus has just died. His chin is touching his chest. What you see is the crown of his head. It's just, how do you know that? Because of the element on top. See that green enameled element? That represents the veil in the Temple of Solomon. It's ripped to pieces, and that's the tattoo. It's ripped to pieces. See all of those little clues? The deposition in the cross, the family that goes to the quarry, that's on top between the main columns in the middle. They look for the coffin. The coffin is empty because Jesus did ascend to heaven. In glory, no longer in loincloth, in glory, having overcome death. And that's how you link this facade to the main facade. It's a beautiful facade. I like this one. The other one is more natural. Everybody looks like normal. This one's modern. It's so expressive. So full of scenes. There's the sacristy. I told you we had one of the four chapels we have to have. And one little one in the middle. We have one missing. We have one big and a little in between.
How many people are working on it?
There's, oh my God, about 200. About 200 people counting stonemasons, counting security folk, counting probably more than 200. But that's what I was told. And there's 20,000 people coming in every day. So they have more than enough money for everything, to pay off those families and for everything. There's more than 100 million coming in. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, back to the bus then and off to the hotel. Let's go. That way. Rocks. That's what is then in turn broken into small blocks to use to clad everything he does. I've always imagined there would have been at least 100 kids here. At the time, if you were 8 years old, you could work. And there's so much rock breaking here. Sitting on the floor, breaking rock all day long. And that way you help the family a little bit, right? Can I say that that was done? The first thing we see is one of the walkways. There are 4 walkways. And one of the most innovative things to see here is the tilted columns. No one had ever worked with tilted columns before, and because of that, Gaudi has to do all his research. Remember, he's looking for a way to build the church without load-bearing walls. He needs to turn the inside into a forest, so he's looking for a way to turn a column into a tree. And that's what you see inside the church. Tree-like columns. This is him starting to do it. Starting to work with tilted columns that reach towards each other and form a parabolic arch, eventually a catenary arch. Sagrada Familia, they grow up to 150 feet, 100 feet, and the branches themselves form the arches. Because some branches branch out and link with another one, others go higher up and link higher up, and others go even higher up. So the whole church is held by tree-like columns. Never. No. Gaudi was considered a very careful architect. Everybody said that about him. He's very careful. Okay, folks, look, I want to show you what this looks like here. This is a really good moment to look at it, because it's going to help. Okay, that's a typical tree. Yep. These are the sycamore trees you see in all our streets. This is Gaudi's take on that. Yep. And this is the research he does here. They don't know where to go. There you go. There, that's clear. See how there's the tree trunk, then there's the knot, and then there's the branches. And that's what he does, thanks to his research here. These, of course, are not done with concrete and rebar. This is just brick and mortar, clad with the local stone. But later on, as soon as he works with concrete, he finds the way to break a column without losing the line of lay. And that's what we're going to see. Okay? This way, please. There she is. Okay, Genius here. We're supposed to be 11, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're missing a couple. Guy and Janet. Yeah. I think Guy and Janet. Let's take a picture. First of all, the three neighbors. Gaudi and his model home. You've seen that. The lawyer, the only one that paid market value for everything. That's his house up there. And that is an example of what this should have looked like if we had had the 60 or even the 30 families. Because remember, Catholics, no TV, the church doesn't allow contraception. Most families had 8, 9, 10, 11 kids. So they would have mostly had to buy 2 plots to build a larger home.
We have 11.
Yeah, 11. There you go.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Okay, from one mom?
Yes. Okay. And one dad.
And one dad. Okay, folks, so that's the lawyer's house. And this was Mr. Wade's and Mrs. Wade's and the whole family's family house. The original was the one with the mosaic, with the Moorish tile, and the rest was added by Gaudi to fit the size. That's the public school. Okay, let's go. Let's move on. I love it, really. Almost got him. Okay, let's go down the stairs and into the walkway, please. Yes, please. Let's come along. Jeannie, you want to hold on to the railing?
Yeah. We may come back.
Okay, see the shape of it? Again, another research, another design, looking for different possibilities. Okay, folks, look. This is called the washerwoman's walkway because of her. So, walk out with me. This is Mr. Wade's washerwoman. He's depicted her with her basket full of dirty clothes, which of course she's going to go wash by hand, her folded sleeves, her long skirts and apron, and even a little bag in her right hand where she has the soap and the scrub. And that's the name they gave to this very, very long walkway. The subject here is water. It isn't just a piece of washerwoman. It isn't just that walkway looks like a wave. It's that we have all of that structure underneath where we were standing, which is collecting the rain water. The columns in the middle are hollow. We have a water pipe, and whenever it rains, the water filters into the columns. At the bottom of those columns, a cistern that can hold up to 500,000 liters of water. So, again, Gaudi was thinking forward. If ever we're running out of water, long drought, I can always give these people water from the cistern. All right? You can see also the gargoyles, the lion heads, they eliminate the water from the bed. Every backrest has a hole, there's a ditch, there's a drain, it all comes out of the water itself. All right? So it's all engineering behind what we see. Now, let's go into the walkway, see the walkway. This way, please. Motion. Wait, closing in on itself. And again, just research. Can I hold up a line of columns, filter columns by the slope of the mountain itself? Showing no concrete and giving it all the organic shape. But see, he doesn't decorate, he transforms. That's the big difference. This is the rest of the home, that's the school now. And you want society to recognize you, the last thing you want is to be away from. Let's start this way. Yes. There's the gecko. Let's go see the gecko. These are the gatehouses, and it's no coincidence that they look like gingerbread houses. We know that Gaudi went to the opera in 1901 to see Hansel and Gretel. And these were done by 1904. It's Whoville. Dr. Seuss, there you are. I'm going to say that.
Remember the Whoville?
Yes, I remember the Grinch, but I don't remember Whoville.
Can you turn off the 5-second
Yes,
delay?
dear. Thank you.
I started taking a picture and it started counting down. I go, ah! I never use that.
I want to borrow your picture for you. And from here, we won't go any further because we're moving to the left. So once we see the gecko down below, which we can reach because we're moving to the left. Gecko, dragon. And I'll meet you here on the gate, on the left.
Excuse me. Whoa, I'm up.
Right? No. Until it's time to go inside. I'm showing you. If you do want to separate, you tell me. Martha, no, we're ready to go in now. And you can only go in, right, and you can only go in 15 minutes.
I thought you're taking that out.
No, I just wanted to make sure that you got everything with you. Because you're not coming back, I thought. Let's go.
Or sunshine.
Now, see?
That's not me. I wasn't. No. I am cruise critic, but I don't think I've been on it.
Walking on the right-hand side, letting other people take the left.
You gotta have a nice snack and a cup of coffee or something.
I think
Amigos, gorgeous town. Cross Point and Morningstar is for Jesus. No, for Mary. Mary, 450 feet high. Okay? And that was inaugurated in 2021. Then we have, right behind that yellow crane, do you see that there's another sculpture of what looks like an angel with wings?
Yes.
That's really one of the four evangelists, in this case, Luke. And we represent them by their tetromorphos, the animals that represent them. In this case, Luke is represented by a bull. And he's got his hands holding a book. His ethics, his gospel. LC, it says. Right? And we only have 8 of the 12. And that's what we're going to see today. Let's go.
Oldest granddaughter graduates in 2 years, so maybe get
Right? So it's dedicated to Jesus, Joseph, and Mary. Life on this side, think of Jesus on the cross. The head of the cross on Jesus would be the apse, the back sides. The arms are the side and the opposite side, the transept. And the main entrance, facing those balconies there. Right? So you're going to be walking in,
Please sit
always
down.
when you're now visiting the church, you're going to use this entrance. The lobby
Thank you so
dedicated
much.
to life. The other side is dedicated to death. And the main one is dedicated to life after death. Which makes a lot of sense because the whole purpose of religion is giving hope for life after death. So that makes sense. Alright? Not only that one, the one behind, behind, there's going to be about 1,000 people affected by this stuff. Wow. It's a big thing. They're very angry. Very angry. It should never have been not bought. Because when Gaudi had the opportunity to buy that at a cheap price, they never bought it. Because they were always running out of money. And so, gosh, they're going to use that in 150 years. Come on, let's not invest the money now. 1882. Gaudi, 1883. Yeah, first there was another architect than Gaudi. Right? Gaudi didn't lay the foundations. Look, if he had, the church wouldn't be oriented the way it is because this is not true east. True east is that way. So this church would be that way. That's true north, true south, true east. That always bothered Gaudi a lot. You have 3 doors. Can you see that there's 3 doors? Big, big, tall one. Always cave-like, right? Because it goes to the origins. All caves, all rock that's melting, all vegetation. The middle one is for charity and Jesus. The one on the left is for hope and Joseph. And the one on the right-hand side is for faith and Mary. Then look at the art. See the sculptures? There are 3 lines. You could actually take a ruler and draw the lines. One near the ground, another one in the middle, and another one high up. Down below, hardships. In the middle, joyous moments. And higher up, glorious moments. Just like the mysteries of the Rosary. All right? Now, I don't want to bother you with details, but maybe you do want to know what you're looking at. Would you appreciate a little explanation of the art? Hardship for Mary. The child was lost, although later he was found in the temple talking to the doctors of the law. Hardship for Jesus being born. That's why on top of the column you've got the nativity. The column at the bottom. No, down below, column in the middle, and then on top the nativity. The 2 animals, Mary holding the baby and Jesus on top. You see that? That's on top. See those 4 kids on top?
How long ago were those carvings?
After the Civil War. They worked for 10 years, they had carvings they didn't finish. So after the Civil War, they continued to 1940. So between 1926 and 1936, they did a lot, and 1940 and on, they did. Okay, now let's continue. Have you loaded everything up? that, we see this facade. Now we should be able to move to the main entrance. Are you ready? No. Let's go. Follow me. Please come close. There's a lot of noise and I would have to shout a lot to get to all of you. Can you imagine what I showed you there? See the trumpet-like elements, are going to be high columns. You have all the rebar protruding. Then there's going to be sculptures dedicated to the Beatitudes, to the mercies, to the cardinal virtues and the capital sins. Whatever takes you to heaven or to hell. Right? We don't know yet who the artist is going to be, but I have to tell you that this year, for the first time, they've chosen 3 artists. Ask them to do a project for this facade, and in 3 months' time, they will decide who gets the project. So at least we're taking steps and see it's non-stop. The problem here is the bridge. The door is 18 feet above ground level. That we designed a monumental bridge. It goes from that corner to that corner. And then it'll go over the road into the building, and then there's a double monumental staircase. Then, to access the staircase, we need a little bit of a walkway. So that's what the last of the blocks is going to be, the walkway. All right?
Can I get a picture of the picture of what it's going to look like?
Yes, definitely.
It's hard to picture.
And then she's going to airdrop it.
And this is just the basics.
Right.
Right? This is just what Gaudi designed. We don't know what the new artist is going to design. We have no idea. You know, there's times when you have suspicions. Maybe I'm a very suspicious person, but they've chosen 3 artists. One of them is an internationally recognized artist. The other 2 are local. I have a feeling that they've already given it to somebody, but they have to do the whole thing. Anyway, that's just me and my suspicions. Okay, let's go. And then the chalices are on grapes. Some of the grapes are red, some of the grapes are white. And the fruits, they're not just any fruits. On the other side it's summer and spring. On this side it's winter and fall. Life, death. And on this corner, a chapel. On the other corner, a chapel. In back, one of the sacristies we have, and another sacristy on this side. So in 10 years' time, it's not just finishing the facade, it's finishing everything. Let's go. Watch it.
Del aeropuerto de acá.
¿Tú acá, Sabrina?
Oye, pero no va a salir a fruta.
¿Dónde está?
Pero cómo se veía la foto.
La basura la podías poner mejor.
Si vamos a la pelea, tiene algo que ver. Se puede relacionar con la que van a ganarse hasta seguramente. Ahí le cuento por qué. Cuando vamos al otro lado, dependiendo de que... Mira, a la izquierda, ahí vemos en este caso al soldado romano con la lanza que se le dan las camillas que se están arriba, se dan los guardias.